Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Share Myth. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic, and this topic is related to combining both route parameter as well as query parameter with the GET APIs. Okay, so what we will be doing in this session, I'll show you like how we can use both things together to fetch the data using GET APIs, because in real world scenarios and projects there are so many requirement or scenarios where we are supposed to use both route parameter and query parameter at a time. So in that scenario, how we can write the logic, what all things we need to customize so that it works perfectly to fetch the data. So these are all things we are going to discuss in this particular session. But before we proceed further with it, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use route and query params together with GET API. But prior to that, you should know what is query params, what is route params, right? If you know already these things, then things would be much more easier for you. And for that, as I mentioned, like you can refer the Tech Share Myth digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find thousands of sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier, you can consume the content. And in case if you want to ask any questions related to that, feel free to reach out to me through comment section. I would be more than happy to answer all your queries there. Okay. Alright, so let's get started and see how we are implementing this thing. So firstly, I'll show you the output. So in case of output, we have two headings: Angular course by Tech Share Myth. Second heading, combining route plus query params with GET APIs. And in between two horizontal rows, we have mentioned the profiles, user post with detail. Okay. Now let's try to understand how we can implement this thing with the API data. So here we have this data, okay, and from this data you can see we have multiple records for user ID 1, where we have title, body, right? So my requirement is like that. I want to keep user ID fixed as 1, okay, and I want to set a limit of 3 records. I just want 3 record for the user ID 1. So this is my requirement to get the data. Now to implement this thing, what we will do, we will use both things. Firstly, for the user ID we will use route params, and secondly for the limit we will use query param. Okay, so I think a requirement is clear, like what we are going to build here. So firstly, for user ID we will fix the route param, and for the query params we will use the limit. Okay, so this is what we are planning. Now how to implement it, let's see. So for that, firstly I'll show you everything from scratch. So we will go to our application. Here is the code. So as always, like we need to configure the app.config.ts file, because without registering the provided HTTP client here, you won't be able to utilize the API in your application. Okay, so I have clearly mentioned it: providers, provide HTTP client. Provide HTTP client is imported here. That means now you are good to import it. Now you are good to use this API call in the application. Clear? Now other than that, what we have this comp component. And in case if you don't know how to create this comp component, you can run the command which is ng for Angular g generate c component, and name of the component is comp1. So when you press enter here on this command, what it will do, it will simply create the component with 4 files: CSS, HTML, spec.ts and component.ts. Okay, by default it will come as a blank file, okay, and then you need to customize it according to your requirement. But just make sure that whatever information you are providing here should be connected with your application. Now how to do this? So for that, you can just simply copy this comp1, which is a selector. Just copy this comp1 selector value and go to app.component.ts file. Here we just need to attach your component, comp1 component with the application. Okay, so comp1 component is added here, and then in app.component.html file, you need to mention 2 headings if it is needed. Like in my case, I want to show these headings, so I just put Angular course by Texture Myth and combining route plus query params with get API. Okay, and then after that we are using that selector value to connect the application with my comp1 component, and this is the value which we copied, comp1 app comp1. Okay, so now comp1 is connected with your app component. Now it's time to see the logic, how we are using it inside API call. So for that, firstly you can see we have imported few things like common module, HttpClient and HttpParams. Okay, after that in a class we have provided this thing, like firstly we have defined the post which will hold our data, so whatever response we will get from the API will be stored in this post. Okay, so we will use it for storing the data. Then we have created the constructor, and constructor is like this: private HTTP client. So whenever you want to access HTTP client, you will use the term HTTP. After that we have one method, that is ng-oninit method, and in this ng-oninit method we have const as user ID 1, which is fixed because I want to fix user ID as 1. Then const params new HTTP params dot set limit. So here I have set the underscore limit as 3. And this is my route param, not route. This will be used for route param, user ID, and this will be used for query param. Then I clearly mentioned this .http.get any. This is my URL /$ and user ID. Okay, so what this user ID will do, it will fetch the records only for the user ID 1. And after that we are setting the params, which is nothing but a query parameters, which will set my query parameter as limit 3. Then we are subscribing to the result and response and storing it into this post, and once it is stored it here, we can use it to display the output. So we can see here we have user post, which is the main heading. Then we have post of post, which is nothing but a for loop to iterate the record one by one. And we are also tracking it for the post ID, so that if something is new added here, we can simply track that. Angular can track that. So for that we have just put this post ID, and after that we are just printing one by one the title for the record. Okay, so that's the logic. Now let me run this again so that you can compare the output now, because now you have understanding on the logic. So with the logic you can relate the things. Okay, I think ing serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds and then it will show you the output on the browser, and from there we will verify it. So it is taking a little bit of time. Yeah, now it is open. So now go to the API data and see. We have fixed a user ID, right? We have fixed the user ID. Let me show you. So here we set the user ID as 1. That means route param is fixed, that is 1. And after that we want 3 limit. Okay, so first title is this, second title is this, sorry, not title, yes, title is this, and third title is this. And we are getting these 3 titles. Why? Because we have set the limit of 3. So this limit is set with the help of query param, and that record ID, which is user ID, is set with the help of route params. Okay, so this is how like we utilize the combination of both route parameters as well as query parameter with get API. So once you use these two things together with the get API, it will provide you this kind of output that you can maybe store, or if you want to write it into some file, that you can do. It depends on requirement. Okay, but overall process would be same. So even if next time if someone asks you to write a logic to use both query parameters as well as route parameter together in an application, you can use this logic, because it will help you to figure out the things. Okay, so yeah, this is how you can utilize the get API with the route parameter and query parameter. You can start practicing on these concepts, and if you have any queries or questions related to that, feel free to reach out to me. through comment section. I would be more than happy to answer all your questions, and also you can check out the TechShareMate digital course book for all the resources that we have created. So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session, new topic. So thank you for watching TechShareMate.